This is a piece of Madeira citrine, which I had bought from Uruguay, and I had kind of preformed it and already put it on top for a different project, but the priorities changed and I didn't need that project anymore, so I left it on the DOP and it was sitting in my inventory, and I just looked at it and said, heck, let me go ahead and take this piece out and use it for today's project and recover my DOP. I can't leave my DOP in the inventory to be cut forever, so this is what I'm going to cut today. For this piece of Madeira citrine, I'll use a design which I have cut before. It's called Old Mine Berrien No. 1, and it was designed by Robert Long, and I like the way it turned out, so I'm going to cut it again. And here are the cutting instructions for this design. These cutting instructions can be found on the web at facetdiagrams.org, which is a large database of gem cutting instructions and designs, probably the largest on the web, at least the largest that I've found. So you can go there to get these cutting instructions. Now, I showed you how to find and download this design in a recent video, so I won't cover the steps again here on how to download these instructions from the facetdiagrams.org website. I'll put a link to that video here, so those of you that want to learn how to download those cutting instructions can do so. Okay, when I went to Tucson this year, I was going to be out of town for a couple of days, so I sent all my laps that I use either diamond powder or an oxide on, and sent them back to John Rolfe at Gear Loose and had him run them through his lathe and resurface the laps. So my bat laps have been resurfaced, and on the bat lap, both sides are usable. It's a solid piece, so they've all been resurfaced. I sent my bat laps back to John. I sent my zinc laps back to John, and I sent my tin laps back to John and got them all resurfaced. And so basically I have a whole new set of laps to work with. Okay, I've pre-polished our citrine with 8,000 grit diamond on my newly resurfaced zinc lap. So now I'm ready to polish, and I think I'm going to use my tin lap and cerium oxide to polish. My tin lap has also been resurfaced by John Rolfe, so that's the next lap I'm going to use, and then we'll be done with the bottom half, the pavilion of our stone, and we'll be ready to cut the upper half. And so this is my newly resurfaced tin lap. This will be the first time I use it with the at all, and I'm going to use cerium oxide on it, so I'll see how much cerium oxide I need for a newly resurfaced lap. Okay, so I did a little bit of cleanup with paper towel with alcohol on my lap before I put the cerium oxide on it. So now we're ready to go with my newly resurfaced tin lap. Finished polishing the bottom half of the pavilion of our citrine, so now I'll transfer the stone and cut the upper half. And coming along nicely, I polished it with cerium oxide on my tin lap. Okay, I went over the upper half of our citrine with my 600 grit diamond topper, And so now I'll go to my 12M, which is about a 1500 grit, and then to pre-polish and then polish. Okay, so I'm going to go over our Citrine with my 13,000 grit diamond on a bat lap, and this bat lap's been refurbished by John Rolfe at Gearless, so it's be the first time I've used it. And the thing about bat laps is both sides are usable, and when you have them resurfaced, John does both sides, no charge for the backside. He's got to balance them anyway. So if you do send laps to John, contact him on the pricing, but the first lap has one price, and then each additional lap is significantly cheaper because once he sets up to run them through it, basically the setup, it saves time on it and shipping. So we're going to use my basically brand new bat lap. Okay, so I've polished the crown or the upper half of our Citrine. The only thing left to polish and cut is the table, so I'll set up my Ultratech machine to cut and polish the table next, and then we'll be done with this stone. I finished polishing the table on our Citrine, so now I'll soak the stone in acetone to remove it from the dop. I'll weigh it, measure it, and send it up to BOPIE. Today I cut an old mine design called Old Mine Barian No. 1. I used a Madeira Citrine, and I like this design as it cuts quick and easy, and it produces the gemstone with a lot of sparkle. In my opinion, this design is suitable for gem cutters of all levels, so I would recommend you give it a try. And I used my newly resurfaced laps to cut and polish this stone. For metal laps, which you add either diamond or oxide to, you can have them resurfaced if you choose. I'm not talking about laps that have diamond grit embedded into the lap. So I recently had my bat, my aluminum, and my tin laps all resurfaced, so they're basically brand new. Many cutters never have their laps resurfaced, and I'm not saying that you need to, but I chose to, and I'm happy with the results. For me, in some cases, I had developed low points in some of my laps. You really need to learn to sweep your stone across the lap. That will help avoid low points, but sometimes they develop. Or if you buy your laps secondhand, they may have issues. So again, I'm not saying you must resurface your laps. I'm just saying that it's an option available to you if you choose to do so. So please let me know in the comments what you think of this design and of this piece of Madeira Citrine. And as always, happy fasting, everyone.